One could say that home games in the NBA playoffs are important, and it has never held any truer words than to the Eastern Conference Finals, the 2016 edition. The Cavs returned home, and they blew out the Toronto Raptors. Now, it was a 116-78 score. They almost doubled them up through like the second quarter. So before we get into some of this and the Twitter reaction and all the breakdown of this game, I want to clear the air on something because I read the comments, I like the comments, try to get into healthy debates with everyone down in the comments section. And some of you made some good points because I kept saying throughout this series and other series with the Toronto Raptors that they live and die by their backcourt. But maybe I didn't go into enough detail as to why I think that outside of being an obvious statement. Because a lot of people were writing, well, yeah, if Kyrie Irving and LeBron James aren't on the Cavs, like they're going to die with Kevin Love and Richard Jefferson and the rest of that team. Or if you take the two best players off any team, of course what's going to happen. So in more specific detail, why it's so important to them is because they're the only two players in the Raptors who actually can score. Look at the last three games from this series, two of which the Raptors won on their home court and the one that they got blown out on. These are the starters not named Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. Louis Scola, past three games. Game 3, 0 points. Game 4, 0 points. Game 5, 7 points. DeMarre Carroll, Game 3, 10 points. Game 4, 11 points. Game 5, 5 points. And Bismack Biyombo, Game 3, 7 points. Game 4, 5 points. Game 5, 7 points. Now, Biyombo is not in there to score. He was replacing Jonas Valanciunas, who was a scorer. Exactly. Blocker, rebound, clog the lane. And Valanciunas came off the bench and didn't even rebound in this game. Granted, he's probably still hobbled. I'll give him a pass until we see what happens in Game 6. But DeMarre Carroll did not sign a big contract to just play defense for the Toronto Raptors. He signed to also be a three-point shooter and help out in the scoring effort on that team. Louis Scola is a guy who's another big-ish, I should say, who should not be putting up 0 points in a game, let alone twice. So this is where I criticize Dwayne Casey. We know the Raptors are not great on the road. We know the Cavs in this series aren't great on the road either, and that's the fair assessment of both those teams. But this is where I think Dwayne Casey, if there is a Game 7, would need to adjust the lineup and throw Tyronn Lue a little bit of a curveball and see what could be done to maybe go smaller to get more scores in there, because the two guys who have been helping off the bench, Patrick Patterson and Corey Joseph, Game 3 combined for 24 bench points. That's going to help in games. That's going to limit the chance of blowout. And lastly, no excuses for the Raptors on this one. You can't shoot 60% from the free throw line outside your own building. That's what creates 40-point blowouts. It's not the fact that the other team just was overmatched and overpowering to you. It's that you missed all your free throws.
Yeah, I honestly don't think it's as much complicated as it is to the point where we just, you mentioned it this morning, which is probably the overwhelming fact here, is that you need Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan to be shooting, I would say, above their average percentage from the field, and obviously maybe go beyond that in certain amounts to compete with the Cavs.
Yeah, and so they had a chance of blowing out the Cavs in Game 4, but the final score was 105-99, and the Cavs came back. And the Cavs have scorers outside of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Mm-hmm. When they're playing bad, they can compete because guys like Channing Frye get hot from the three-point line.
J.R. Smith.
And J.R. Smith can. We've seen J.R. Smith score 30 points in a game.
Yeah, and it wasn't just so Kevin Love just wasn't. Obviously, the injury issues when we said it in the previous game, when obviously the whole world exploded because the Raptors tied it up. Kevin Love wasn't shooting at his best. LeBron James wasn't shooting above his best. Kyrie Irving wasn't scoring at his best. All the Cavs need is just one or two of them to be shooting above average, I believe, or be shooting well to go on and win that game. I think when you get all three of them firing in all cylinders, and then you get the bench players and the utility players putting in points as well, the Raptors don't stand a chance. That's my point of view on that, because I feel that each of the games, in the two games that the Raptors was able to obviously tie the series up, I think they played well, but I think the Cavs moved away from what they had been doing in their previous games. And when the Cavs come at home, it is that it's so easy for them to get on board with a certain player who happens to step up to the case. So, like Kevin Love, what was his points, I believe, yesterday?
Kevin Love had 25, 2 rebounds, 2 assists.
So, even just for Kevin Love to get to start finding his range there, you could see that it helped Kyrie, and you could see that it helped LeBron James, and they were able, because it obviously didn't feel like all the weight was on LeBron to guide them through that game. But I just feel like when it comes to the Cavaliers, all you need is maybe one or two of those guys to be shooting above their average and to be shooting above that average field goal percentage for them to go on and win the game. And that's not saying that it's no disrespect to Toronto. I just feel like as a collective team, those two star men have to be on point. And that's why I think it's a little bit unfair when a lot of criticism does go towards someone like Kyle Lowry, who I didn't think played bad last night. But again, he's not.
Yes, that's true.
He's not shooting to the point where he was shooting in I believe, the 2 games to get them into
That's
that
a great
stage.
point. Look, this is what comes with becoming a superstar player. I don't think Kyle Lowry's a superstar player just yet. He has to win away from his building in pressure situations to become a superstar player. But Kyle Lowry definitely played better than he had in the past when it comes to the road, at least in this series, I should say. Kyle Lowry had 13 points, 3 rebounds, and the 6 assists. Now, that's a similar stat line to he's had. Granted, he was 5 of 12 shooting. That's not great shooting, but it's much better than 4 of 14, which we've seen from him in the past, 3 of 18, or 3 of 16, which we've seen from him in the past. DeMar DeRozan's could be streaky. We know that. I'm not going to rip into DeMar anymore for that. But Kyle Lowry, I saw like in the beginning of that game when he couldn't find a shot because he started 0 for 3. So he finished 5 of 9, which is actually pretty good considering your percentage-wise. He was able to assist more and try to get better looks for his teammates. So, no, I'm not ripping into the Raptors anymore. I hear you guys. The one thing I love about Raptors fans, I would say, is that you guys are relentless. My God, you won't stop believing. You shouldn't stop believing because the series is technically not over. You go home, the Cavs have not beat you in your arena.
Yeah.
Game 6 could be 3-3, and then we get a Game 7. But if it has to go back to Cleveland for a Game 7, I have to believe the Cavs are going to win that game. I can't see a reason as to how the Raptors would come out of it. If I'm wrong, fear the North. The North goes to the finals. Fucking A, that's awesome. If they don't, you guys had a great season. We did a clip 3-4 months ago. I did one with Francis. I did one with Andre. And I said, if the Raptors want to be considered successful this season, they got to make the Eastern Conference Finals. Congrats, you did it. That's a fucking successful season. We're going to get to the memes and tweets, too.
And the final point is what we said yesterday on the clip when we talked about whether or not this is like, so the article read, and I believe Kyle Lowry does get criticism, but he often seems to get a pass at times when he plays well at home. And the article read, Kyle Lowry delivers again with his back to the wall. And we said, well, he needs to deliver when his back's against the opposition wall and when he's in a different stadium. And what they did, basically they combined for 27 points when in the previous game they combined for 67. 40-point differential is going to go pretty far against a team like the Cavs.
Roughly what the blowout was.
Yes, exactly. So, but to the tweets.
Memes and tweets. We're going to start off with LeBron taming the Raptors via Jurassic World and Bleacher Report.
This is phenomenal.
Stand down. Hey, what did I just say? Delta, I see you. Back up. Okay, good.
Easy.
I gotta say, that's phenomenal work by Bleacher Report because I've seen them do a few of those videos, and those who don't know, editing-wise, it's tedious to make those videos. So
it is a tough task. So credit where credit's due, but we're still better. Moving on.
This was really funny. I don't know why I had trouble understanding this at first, but fortunately our EP Dan was there to explain to me what this was, maybe because I'm not a married man and my wife does not go to the salon or whatever the hell they would go to. Take a look at this one. It's a blowout, Francis. Get it? A blowout.
That would have been easy.
Yeah. The hair is perfect on both of them.
I love it.
Like, that works. They could be in a great 80s like metal band.
I love it.
You love it?
It's great.
Do you love it?
I like the yellow hairdryer. I might purchase one.
Next, of course, Drake's going to be sad when it comes to memes and tweets.
Well, Drake he knows he's a brunt in the meme. You see him on SNL? It was really funny.
He was
became
great.
a meme.
He
did a great job on that.
SNL.
I loved his beef. Drake's beef was really funny.
Drake's beef.
This is the
Fuck
thing.
you, Wanda. That was my chair for my hat.
This is the thing as well. Is like you think that other basketball players don't notice when Drake takes over the headlines and it comes to him shouting in the ears of fellow players and all that stuff. And if I was a basketball player, similar to what everyone does when they if the series does happen to go in the Cavs' favor, which I think it will. If I was LeBron, I'd throw in a little Drake meme in there just to ruffle the feathers.
Next is the flow chart, which I think is hilarious. It's will I be in the NBA Finals this year? Do you play in the same conference as LeBron? Yes. Is he on your team? Yes. You will be in the finals. No, you will not be in the finals. Do you play in the same conference as LeBron? No. Well, possibly.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Next, we move forward. I know our EP Dan does not want to do more Jordan memes.
Do you know what happens?
The rule is one Jordan meme per memes and tweets, or I will make a Jordan meme of my EP Dan.
There's always going to be more Jordan memes to find a way in there. And the thing is, how can we get mad, Jason, when the Jordan meme face made its way onto Steven Adams' nutsack? Easily the most creative way of doing so.
And speaking of Steven Adams' nutsack, we have a great great animated video from a contributor, Cleo Dog Productions, which is going to be up in about an hour if you're watching this. It might be already up if you're watching this now. Make sure to go to the YouTube channel. It has to do all about Steven Adams' tormented groin. And speaking of, LeBron got the most of this tormented groin, or someone else's tormented groin. I'm going to keep saying tormented groin.
I like
to say tormented groin.
How's your groin feeling today?
As the next meme and tweet. How's your groin feel?
I'm tormented.
Like Steven Adams' groin. Oh, I'm sorry, Drake's groin. Get it?
Take it,
Get
Drake.
it? It's Happy LeBron.
I mean, why would Steven Adams be tormented by LeBron?
Drake. How about Francis, you know about, natural history, right?
Somewhat.
Like, how were the dinosaurs swept off this earth?
Ice Age.
They say possibly a meteor, which caused the Ice Age. Take a look. Look at the face, though.
Fantastic.
Look at the face. Oh,
Go to the
man.
ice.
So much time. This was our EP Dan's favorite meme. I think this was pretty good. Raptors on the road, Raptors at home.
Oh, that was not a fake laugh.
And
Fully authentic.
last but not least, I'm not done trolling Drake. He's going to make a ridiculous album cover.
That's amazing.
Views.
How's that view?
View. All right, so Game 6 returns to the Air Canada Centre. Some believe the Raptors will win. Fear the North. Hashtag we the North. Hashtag fear the we the North. Whatever you guys want to call it.
Hashtag running through the 6 with my woes.
Just so you guys know, Fear the North, if that has anything to do with the Game of Thrones reference, the North is, almost completely fucked in Game of Thrones. You got White Walkers, you got, I'm not going to give away spoilers, but the Starks area of Winterfell is, under different control. The North, the winter is coming, the North is here. I fear them. I have no idea what I'm saying anymore. At Francis _.
Let's just be honest, the North is never that much better. I love Scotland, but we're colder than England, and we're not as good at football. I hate England and I love Scotland, but the North is just always just cold.
So you can say Fear the North?
Yeah, I can, but no one feels this anymore since William Wallace parted ways with us.
How do you think the North Pole feels compared to the North?
Feel the North.
Like Canada, they're like, no, we're the real North. All right, comment below with what you think's going to happen in Game 6 at the ACC, the Air Canada Centre. Drake will be there clapping in people's ears. We're sure about it. All the description, all the social media is in the description box below. Make sure to go over to Unilad Football and the Sport Bible also if you want to take a look at some fun FIFA
Viral
gaming skit. Make sure to check it out. Thanks to those guys for sharing all that stuff. We'll see you next time.